of the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Computer Science. May I now request all our esteemed dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais, please. Mr. Arvind, Professor Ashwin, Professor Shweta, and Mr. Kaviraj. To commence this auspicious occasion, we begin with an invocation. I request all of you to kindly rise for the invocation, please.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் மதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை நுதலும் தரிதனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே. வந்தே மாதரம் வந்தே மாதரம் சுஜலாம் சுஃபலாம் மலயஜ शीतलाम् सस्यश्यामलाम् मातरम् वन्दे मातरम् शुभ्रज्योत्स्नां पुलकितयामिनीं फुल्लकुसुमितद्रुमदलशोभिनीं सुहासिनीं सुमधुरभाषिनीं सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं.
Thank you. Please be seated. It is now my privilege to invite Mr. Kaviraj Nair, Chief Executive Officer, Office of Institutional Advancement, IIT Madras, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Sharon. Good evening to all of you. Our distinguished donor, Mr. and alumnus, Mr. Arvind Raghunathan, Professor V. Kamakoti in absentia, our director, Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, Dean Alumni and Corporate Relations, Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan, Mr. M.V. Subbaya, Mr. Venugopal Kasturi, and Professor Shweta Agarwal, who is in charge of the center, and all other well-wishers of IIT Madras ecosystem, and all who are present here. Very warm welcome to all of you. It's a privilege to welcome you all to this inauguration of the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Computer Science at IIT Madras. This is not merely the launch of a new center. It's a reaffirmation of something fundamental to great institutions, that the future is shaped not only by application research, but by first principles, not just by products alone, but by core ideas and innovative ideas themselves. Theoretical computer science, as you know, sits at the heart of many of the defining questions of our time: algorithms, complexity, cryptography, machine learning, quantum security, privacy, and trust in AI. These are the deep foundations on which tomorrow's digital world will be built. That is what makes the center so important. It has been envisioned as a serious hub for foundational research, talent development, and global collaboration, one that advances deep scholarship while remaining connected to real-world impact in secure systems, digital infrastructure, and AI. We are deeply grateful to Mr. Arvind Raghunathan, our alumnus and a founder of Rock 360 and founder and CEO of House IQ. His own journey reflects entrepreneurial imagination, institution building, and the confidence to back ideas with long-term conviction. His support to this center and his larger commitment to IIT Madras speaks to a vision that recognizes that enduring technological leadership must rest on strong intellectual foundations. This center is also an investment in people, in faculty, researchers, students, and future scholars who will push the boundaries of knowledge and help position IIT Madras and India more strongly on the global map of foundational research. On behalf of the Office of Institutional Advancement and IIT Madras, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We are honored by your presence and grateful for your support and excited about the journey that begins today. Thank you all.
Thank you for your warm and gracious welcome, sir. I now invite Professor Ashwin Mahalingam, Dean, Office of Alumni and Corporate Relations, to deliver his address.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Let's try that again. Good evening. Okay, great. Just making sure Kaviraj hasn't put all of you to sleep. So it's great to see all of you here. Also great to see some longtime friends and well-wishers of IIT Madras as well in the audience, in addition to a lot of people who I'm sure are here for the symposium and have been discussing quite a bit on theoretical computer science. I just wanted to say a couple of words on the origin story of this center. So about a year and a half ago, I was in the US along with Professor Mahesh Panchagnula, who was my predecessor as the Dean of Alumni Relations. And the reason both of us were there was because Mahesh's term was finishing, I was about to take over, and we were doing this visit, meeting alumni who were already engaged with IIT Madras to sort of pass the baton on. And we met one of our alumni who's been a long-term supporter of IIT Madras, Girish Reddy, from the class of 1977. And we were having this discussion with Girish when he suddenly said, hey, have you guys met Arvind Raghunathan? And both of us said, no, we've not met Arvind Raghunathan. We've not heard of Arvind Raghunathan. Arvind Raghunathan is not on our radar. Who is Arvind Raghunathan? So Girish then gave us the brief introductory bio, and he said, why don't I try to fix up a meeting with Arvind? Now, we were actually leaving the next day, so we literally had about a half day left. And but luckily, Girish was able to fix up a meeting. Arvind responded, and literally on our way to the airport, we stopped by and met with Arvind. Now, generally, when you meet with an alumnus for the first time, a lot of the discussion is this sort of motherhood and apple pie conversation on IIT Madras, what was it like, and things like that. But we walk into Arvind's office, and Arvind's already got a screen where he's been analyzing IIT Madras's ranking. And what points are we scoring where, and where are we sort of not missing out? And all of a sudden, we went there with the intention of having a very broad conversation. We suddenly got into this very focused conversation on what is IIT Madras, where does IIT Madras stand as far as global rankings are concerned, and what do we need to do to push ourselves up first into the top 100, maybe then into the top 50 and things like this. And one of the things that we instantly agreed upon is that if you really want to punch above your weight as a university, as much as it's important in India today to do a lot of applied work, fundamental theoretical work is what helps universities stand out and gives you that sort of cutting edge, right? And one of the things we both agreed that IIT Madras should do is focus a little bit more on some of the fundamental work that's going on at IIT Madras. Happily, at coincidentally the same time, Shweta and I had a conversation, right? And she had come and we were talking about this center, SciStar, that she was a part of, and she was, of course, interested in a lot of theoretical computer science related work. So then when I got a chance to touch base with Arvind, talk to him about Shweta Center, Arvind, again, fortunately came about a year ago, I'd like to say, maybe February or March of last year, met with Shweta, and instantly we all realized this is exactly what we wanted to do, is to create this center that will focus on fundamental work in this very important area that's right at the nexus of mathematics and computer science, because that's where some of the greatest insights are going to come from that will push forward work on whatever it is, cryptography, AI, all of these sort of cutting edge areas that are taking the world by storm. And so in record time, we've actually had a center set up. I mean, it's literally been a year and a half almost to the day when we first had that conversation with Arvind. And we're already here starting up a center, which is unprecedented. Normally, it takes a lot longer to have these kinds of conversations. we're also, so thank you, Arvind, for a couple of things. One is for your generosity, of course. Second is for pushing us to move so quickly. And third, also for pushing us to focus on fundamental science, which I think is at the bedrock of everything else. Applied science comes in once you have good fundamentals. And and I've said this earlier, India needs a lot of applied technology and science, but we can't afford to ignore fundamental science. And so we have to find that really nice balance. So anyway, so here we are, year and a half down the line, and we'll hear a little bit more from Shweta on all the exciting things that the center is going to do. But I think the center will be a game changer. I think we will see radically interesting and different ideas coming out of this center. No pressure, Shweta. No, I'm just sort of committing on your behalf. But knowing the team that's behind this, I think that's a fait accompli. Arvind, also, just so you know, a couple of days ago, the QS rankings for this year have been released. And there are a number of departments from IIT Madras that are in the top 50 in the world. And I will blow my trumpet a little bit, including my own civil engineering. So, your old, and I saw some mechanical engineering alumni. So mechanical engineering is also in the top 50. Electrical engineering, which was your department, and computer science are now in the 50 to 100, but moving up rapidly and will be in the top 50 soon. And if we have all of these top 50 departments, IIT Madras cannot but be a top 100 institution, right? So we're well on our way towards getting there. And this center, I am very clear and very confident, is going to accelerate our motion of that trajectory. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. And we really look forward to seeing what the center can do. So thank you and welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Professor Ashwin, for your insightful remarks. Professor V. Kamakoti, the director of IIT Madras, is unable to join us this evening due to prior commitments. However, he has shared his message through a recorded video. Can we have the video, please?
Namaste. I'm very excited and thankful to Mr. Arvind Raghunathan for setting up this Center for Theoretical Computer Science. I completed my PhD at IIT Madras in 1995 in the area of randomized algorithms. My MS in 1992 in the area of permutation graphs. So both were theoretical computer science concepts, worked under Professor Pandurangan. So this gives me double delight that a center exclusively for theoretical computer science is set up in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Friends, theory is extremely important. I always remember this particular story of an apple, stone, and a knife. There is no direct connection between an apple and a stone, but you have to sharpen the knife on the stone to cut the apple properly. So similarly, your brain is the knife, the stone is theoretical computer science, and the apple or any other application areas. If you sharpen your brain properly, or if your brain is very finely tuned by the study of theoretical computer science, we can handle any other area with ease. And that is what theory is all about. So that's why if you look at our BTech curriculum or our MS curriculum, we have certain MTech curriculum, we have certain fundamental courses in theoretical computer science. And we ensure that students take those courses and understand those concepts very, very well. Theory being the basis of all development, there's nothing without theory. This opens up several areas of specialization in theoretical computer science that will form the basis for large, more application areas. And I'm very happy to see that 6 areas are already identified where this particular center will work on the mathematical foundations and it will look at some of the fundamental open problems, etc. Most interesting area is, of course, cryptography and data security. Everywhere, anywhere, we now talk about security. There are so many applications floating around, so many databases floating around, so many vulnerabilities floating around, and so many hackers around. With all these things, this makes a very, very important field. And if we don't do cryptography and data security right at this point of time, the whole world will curse the computer scientists for why did they invent one and made their whole life a peril. I think this is very, very important, that lot of work happens in cryptography and specifically data security, so that there is a safe digital life for all the citizens across the globe. I think this is a very important area. And our department in particular has many people who are working in this area. And I'm sure that there'll be some very nice results that are going to come out in this cryptography and data security area. A set of people who are working on computational complexity. Computational complexity becomes quite important. There is a classical computing model. And then there are a lot of variations of the classical computing model. For example, some that does comparisons and arithmetic operations. But then you can basically extend those models by randomization, hashing, floor functions, etc. to handle some very interesting problems. A lot of lower bounds get broken. We did see an n log n lower bound for sorting or closest pair problem broken into order n expected complexity with randomization, hashing, and floor functions. So they're a very exciting field. Now, to add more to this excitement, quantum computing has come. So the classes that we have talked of, like the NP class, the P class, etc., the P space, all those things now will have one more variant called quantum. So the whole area of computational complexity is now changing. And that's very, very important. And there are people who are working on several aspects of this. And I'm sure we will have very good fundamental insights developed and also very interesting problems solved in these areas. The third one is, of course, algorithms and graph theory. Nothing works without algorithms. Take any computing field, we have algorithms there. And graph theory, of course, is one of the best friend for any algorithm designer, because modeling using graphs has found enormous amount of applications. And I think we have a lot of algorithms and graph theory people, not only in the computer science department, but also in the data science and AI department, and also in the mathematics department, and across many engineering disciplines today. Nothing works without graphs. And I'm sure this will be a very exciting field, and a lot more of fundamental problems get solved in this field. I think that will be a very big boon for the next layer, the application layer, or the hardware design layer, etc. Then theoretical machine learning is becoming extremely important today. There are a lot of things that we have to look at from a machine learning perspective, for which we need to derive bounds, lower bounds, upper bounds, error bounds, so many things. And these require strong fundamentals in both probability, statistics, and also linear algebra. I think, and not just it, there are some papers now that we see when I even recruit faculty here, that only few people in the world can understand those things. So it's becoming extremely specialized also, very complex mathematics. There are papers over 30 pages with hardly few English words and all gammas and thetas. I think this is becoming very, very important in theoretical machine learning, with a very strong presence both in computer science and data science and AI department. I'm sure this is going to be a very interesting field. And of course, electrical engineering. There is also a sizable number of faculty who are working in machine learning, theoretical machine learning from a communication perspective, etc., from the electrical engineering department also. Then, of course, the quantum computing and post-quantum cryptography, post-quantum security. In the event of a quantum computer able to go interfere and eavesdrop into a communication or a database live computation, what is the algorithm that we need to do so that we can stop data leakage, or we can stop just brute force decryption at the post-quantum stage? I think that, again, there's a very good team that is working. The team that works on cryptography also works on post-quantum cryptography in a very solid way. And IIT Madras has also set up the quantum communication hub. The National Quantum Mission has set up multiple hubs, one at IISc for quantum computing, for communication at IIT Madras, and then we have for metrology and materials at different other places. So I think this will very well align. This will form some of the basis for some very good applications and startups and other ideas that are going to come in the quantum hubs across the country. And that's also extremely important. The last one is, of course, we have the responsible AI. So we are looking at the privacy and trust in AI. It's a very, very interesting concept. In my opinion, very ill-defined terminologies, especially trust. So if you say some A is equivalent to B, then it must be reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. Trust is not reflexive. Sometimes you don't trust yourself. Trust is not symmetric. A trust B, B need not trust A. Trust is not transitive. A trust B, B trust C. A need not trust C. And in addition, trust is temporal. Morning you trust someone, evening you don't trust. Trust is context dependent. You trust somebody on something and not on something else. So with all these ill-defined things, trust itself is a very ill-defined concept. But ironically, society has been running for centuries or probably time immemorial with trust, right? And so privacy and trust in AI. And now you add another dimension, which is artificial intelligence. Now you have all those deep learning models. You don't know what is happening inside. I think this is going to become extremely important. So friends, so we have these 6 exciting areas where a lot of faculty at IIT Madras are involved. And I'm sure this center is going to blossom and it's going to become a very big one. I have no doubts about it. Not only many good students will come and join for the research programs, but we'll also see more great faculty, young faculty coming and joining the center and making it more and more powerful and more attractive. So again, Arvind, thank you very much for this contribution. I'm sorry today I could not be there with you during this launch because of some other prior commitments. But certainly, I will also put in my best effort to see what I could contribute to the center. And from IIT Madras administration, we offer full support to the center to grow it to great heights. And thank you to all the speakers who have come here today and all the guests who have come here to our campus today. Welcome you all and looking forward to your active participation in making this center very, very successful. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
It is now my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Mr. Arvind Raghunathan. Mr. Arvind Raghunathan is the founder, Chief Executive Officer, and Chief Investment Officer of Orosi 360 and House IQ. Prior to this, he served as Managing Director and Head of Global Arbitrage at Deutsche Bank and was a member of the firm's Global Markets Leadership Forum. Earlier in his career, he led a proprietary trading group at Credit Suisse First Boston. An alumnus of IIT Madras, he completed his Bachelor of Technology in 1984 and went on to earn his PhD in Computer Science from the University of California, Berkeley in 1988. He has also contributed to academia as a faculty member at New York University and the University of California, Davis. We are truly honored to have him with us today. May I now request Mr. Arvind to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Hi, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to come here and to see all of you here supporting the launch of this center and to see family and friends sitting right up front. It's an honor to have all of you here. And working closely with the people at IIT, all the people seated here, they've been extremely supportive throughout, helping this launch. Now, I heard the story from Ashwin, and I think when I go back to New York, the first thing I have to do is have a conversation with Girish Reddy for taking this unknown person and making him part with my money. It's the fault of Girish Reddy as well as the fault of Ashwin here, who's extremely persuasive in making me do this gift. So why did I make this gift? Let's look at a quote from the greatest scientist of all time, in my opinion, Albert Einstein. Einstein spoke in German, so it's not an exact translation, exact quote, but essentially what Einstein said was, it is the duty of every human being to put back on this earth the equivalent of what they took from it. I was a person who grew up in India, born, raised in Chennai, went to IIT Madras. I got into IIT Madras at the age of 16, or a little under 16. So it was the most influential place for me. And just on that basis, I felt I had to give back. That's really how it started. So when I start telling you about my life, it's kind of hard to encapsulate all of it in a very brief speech. But Benoit Mandelbrot famously said, again in French, so I'm just translating loosely, something along the lines of, my life appears to be a series of accidents and incidents that have no bearing to each other and a series of random walks. But when I look back upon it, my life seems to have had a great deal of meaning. In other words, there's a pattern to my life. So my life, 100%, was random, wandering about, random incidents. And of course, the theoretical computer scientists will tell you that random walks can often lead to the right place. So my random walk eventually led me here to this place, which is a nice thing. As I said, I started at the age of 16, or a little under 16 when I got into IIT. And here, I was not the best student. I know we have some very brilliant students here, but I was not the best student. I got into the students around me were simply brilliant. I learned so much from them, the professors as well. So I was a double E major, and as I was studying electrical engineering, I realized that that's just not what I wanted to do. I really wanted to be a mathematician. I loved mathematics. But I found here at IIT, at that time at least, there was absolutely no guidance in this. No one ever told me what I should do, what I should study, what I should not, how to move from double E to mathematics, how there were no centers of excellence. There's no research. I could barely find a professor who wrote papers, technical papers, research articles. The only one, and I think I had a discussion with somebody earlier about it, was my BTech advisor, B. Aganarayana, who I understand now is retired, but there was really so little of it. And really, the turning point for me was around the time I was about to graduate, John Hopcroft from Cornell University, who eventually won the Turing Award in 1986, lectured here at IIT Madras. Brilliant lecture on theoretical computer science, explaining what it was. I knew nothing about this topic. So I said, no, I think that might be what I want to study. And in particular, in that speech, in that talk, he said, the work being done at Berkeley by Professor Richard Karp is simply the most cutting edge that he had seen at that time. So it was still early days. And so I applied to Berkeley. As I said, I wasn't a great student, but somehow I got in. I think Venu here was a big help in introducing me to the right people as well there. So I went to Berkeley. I worked with Karp. I worked with Professor Gene Lawler, who was another brilliant man. Unfortunately, died quite early. And really learned the whole thing from them. And not only did I learn computer science and theoretical computer, but I learned how to think. I learned how to think critically. I learned how to be a professional from them. It just was the most extraordinary experience for me. So anyway, I started working on a very difficult problem for my dissertation. I won't even get into the details of it, but I struggled for years, got nowhere. I was wondering if I'll be counseled out saying, we don't have money for you anymore, but suddenly I found a simpler problem, or a series of simpler problems, and I solved them all within 3 months. And then out of Berkeley, in the nick of time, I would say. And I got a job at NYU, Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences. I was a professor of computer science, teaching theory. Didn't last very long. I spent just 2 years. And not because I didn't want to, but really what happened, purely by happenstance, I got hold of a book. The book was called Liar's Poker by Michael Lewis. I don't know if any of you has read it, but it's Michael Lewis's first book. And it's a book set on the trading floor of a Wall Street firm. And it talks about people who make money using financial models and things like that, and all kinds of other stuff. It's a very exciting book. But when I read it, I said I could do the same thing and use models, computer science, mathematics to beat the market, essentially. And I was thinking, should I do it or not? And then I was talking to my wife, and she said, my wife, Sri Bala, who some of you at least know very well, she said, I think you'll do very well at this. And she said, not only will you do well, I said, the problem is I wear jeans and t-shirt every day to teach, and you have to wear a suit there, so I don't want to do it. And she said, no, you look good in a suit. So now I'm a suit guy. And so I went and did that, but it's non-intellectual work. It's not the kind of work I was doing at NYU as a professor. I wrote papers, though I wasn't the very best, but I wrote papers with several Turing Award winners. And then here, it's completely non-academic. It's completely non-intellectual. So the only way to keep up with my intellectual pursuits was to read. And I read extensively. I read books on just about everything. I read 40 books a year. I've been doing it now for 30, 40 years. And of course, there are books on mathematics and things like that as well, and physics and stuff like that, but also literature and economics and all kinds of stuff. And what I found when I read it was very eye-opening to me. I found that India was the world's leader in academics, the world's leader in intellectual thought. Our universities, Taxila in Punjab, of course, what is it, Nalanda, is it? No, in Bihar. These were the world's best. Greeks, Europeans, Chinese people, Asian people flocked to study there. And of course, a lot of it was based on philosophy and religion, Buddhism and things like that, but a lot of it was also mathematics. And here's the interesting thing. India was a world leader in mathematics. So when you think of mathematics, you think of other countries as where the origin is. We obviously do know that the very first time numbers are mentioned, sums, arithmetic is mentioned, is in cuneiform in Mesopotamia. We also know that the ancient Egyptians, when they built the pyramids, used a good deal of mathematics. Geometry, really the formalism starts with Euclid, and there's Pythagoras and things like that. But for our discussion today, the most relevant contribution comes from India. Aryabhatta came up with the place value system, precursor of the decimal system. With Roman numerals and others, you cannot add, multiply, not possible. Most impressively to me was the work of Brahmagupta. Brahmagupta was phenomenal. He really explained how the number 0 should be used. He came up with negative numbers. He came up with the whole notion of the unknown variable in algebra, how to solve linear and quadratic equations. He gave a methodology for how to do it, a methodology. Now, you know how it gets the name algorithm? Brahmagupta's work wasn't verse. It was written down, and I may get this name wrong, but as some of you may know it. Brahmas Puta, what is it? Brahmasputa Siddhanta. Brahmasputa Siddhanta was one of the most profound documents ever written. It went from the Indian king to the Arab people living at that time in Baghdad and those areas, because the Indians wanted to share knowledge, and that knowledge, if you go back to what Kant said, is everlasting peace comes through trade and knowledge. So that's what they did. And the Arabs made it much more palatable from where this document was. And the document, in the Arabic form, went to Spain and then to Sicily and then became European mathematics. It's called the Arabic numerals, but it's the Indian numerals. And similarly, the person who truly explained it is a brilliant person himself called Al-Khwarizmi, based in Baghdad. Al-Khwarizmi is how it gets the name algorithm. But really the algorithm was Brahmagupta's. So for this discussion, I feel, theoretical computer science starts, in my opinion, certainly not with Alan Turing, but it starts with Brahmagupta and what he did. So the question is where are we today, India, in these fields? Well, Ashwin spoke eloquently about it. Some of us think that we are making progress, but really in the QS ranking, there's not a single Indian university in the top 100. Today, we'll get there. Give us a few years, right? We're going to get there, but right now there's none. How did we get to this level? I think we have the people, the talent. Today I heard a bunch of people speak. I mean, it's truly brilliant. But we lack investments in our infrastructure, without a doubt. We're one of the weaker when it comes to infrastructure investment. But more than anything else, we don't invest in centers of excellence. We don't challenge ourselves through investment, hoping to be the world's best in academic thought. And that's why we have slipped. But we will obviously get back to where we were once these things happen. So just in contrast, what I wanted to say is the top 100 universities in the world in the QS ranking are mostly what you can expect, usual suspects: United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and China. Now, China wasn't there a few years ago, maybe 10, 20 years ago, but today it has a number of universities. There's heavy investment in centers of excellence. My professor, Professor Richard Karp, who I said, 1985 Turing Award winner, went to visit one of his former colleagues, Andy Yao, who won the Turing Award in the year 2000, in China. And he came back and he told me he marveled. He said, even in America, they don't treat us this well. And for Andy Yao, they gave him so much money and resources and said, build us the greatest center for theoretical computer science. Now that is what gets you there. Now, obviously, you already parted with some of my wealth, so I don't think I can get you there by myself. But all I can do is, what I did, I think of, is a small step from me, and I hope this will lead to a giant leap for IIT Madras into the rankings. That's really all we can sort of hope for here. Now, in order to achieve this, we need a team. And I thought for myself, what we need is people of high ethics, energy, of course, enthusiasm, intelligence. And I found the team sitting right here at this table. So I wouldn't have really jumped to it within a year and 3 months or whatever it took if I hadn't met Ashwin and Shweta. I thought those are the people I'm going to trust to make this happen, and I think they will. So basically, it's about the future. This gift is about the future. It's about our youngsters. It's not about people like me. It's about all these brilliant minds we have here who should be truly motivated to conquer the deepest, darkest problems, hardest problems, the fundamental truths of this world. That's what academics really should be. And I think, it's one day, maybe, if I return here in 5 years or 10 years, maybe this gathering will be celebrating not just the launch, but I hope we can celebrate our first winner of the Turing Award, or the Fields Medal, or maybe even the Nobel Prize. After all, Jeff Hinton won the Nobel Prize in physics, even though he's a computer scientist, so it's not anything is possible. So I just leave you with that thought of pure optimism and pure good wishes about the future. And all I can say is thank you all for coming. Thank you for the support. I cannot make anything more happen. It's going to be you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Arvind. We will now proceed with the felicitation as a token for appreciation and gratitude. I now invite Professor Ashwin to honor Mr. Arvind with an Angavastram and a memento.
These days, in our convocation, we don't do the old count. So this is,
I now invite Professor Shweta to felicitate Mr. Arvind, Professor Ashwin, and Mr. Kaviraj. Thank you, everyone. I now invite Professor Shweta Agarwal, head of the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Computer Science, co-founder of SciStar, and Professor and Venki Harinarayan and Anand Rajaraman Faculty Fellow in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, to present an overview of the center and its vision.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and joining us on this important occasion. It's truly my honor and privilege to welcome you all here. I'd like to express my most heartfelt gratitude to Arvind and to everybody for making this possible. Let me tell you a little bit about this center. So the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Computer Science, we've made the acronym ART-CS for this center because theoretical computer science, you would all agree, is the art in computer science, right? It's the most beautiful aspect of computer science, and the center has really been formed to celebrate this beauty and to flow with it. So, what's our vision? It's advancing foundational research at the frontiers of mathematics and computation. We aim to create an environment where core scientific questions are pursued with passion and curiosity. And we want to bring together leading researchers across related disciplines and from around the world to be part of our center and to help us grow and create an environment where all these wonderful new ideas will take birth. So we have a truly inspiring advisory board, as you can see here. These are some of the most celebrated computer scientists in the world today, and they're with us on this journey. So we're very optimistic that with their guidance, we'll go a long way. We have several wonderful faculty members at IIT Madras who work in theoretical computer science who are joining hands with us to be part of the center. This team works in many different areas. Professor Kamakoti already talked about the core areas that the center is going to focus on. So we have cryptography, computational complexity, algorithms, graph theory, logic and databases, theoretical machine learning, quantum computing, and privacy in AI. These are the areas that we're starting with, where we already have some critical mass and where we already have a lot of movement. And eventually, over time, we hope to grow broader and to recruit also in new emerging areas and to encompass departments even outside computer science much, much more. But this is where we're beginning. And as we, plant this tree of ArtCS in the soil of creativity, curiosity, good intentions, and lots of optimism, these are the hopes that we have, global, national, and local. Let's go over it. So global, we want to tackle central problems in theoretical computer science. We've already talked about this. We'd like to collaborate with leading universities around the world, so also be much more part of the conversation of, which are the important and exciting problems that face us today. And we'd like to do this via, themed workshops, a lot of travel of our team and our students to these places, a lot of visitors from these places who will come and spend time with us. We'd like to support student exchange between different places and foster an environment of collaboration and a lot of discussion. We'd like to, through this center, attract some of the strongest researchers to join us. And this we'd like to do at all levels. Faculty, postdoc, graduate students in particular. We've already taken some steps in this direction. And essentially what we're hoping to do is build a global reputation for pioneering contributions to fundamental problems through this center. So these are the aspirations that we have on the global scale. On the national level, we first and foremost want to nurture the outstanding mathematical talent that India already has and contribute to the vision of India emerging as a global leader in theoretical computer science. So we already have in India some really outstanding theoretical computer scientists, many of who are present here today. We've heard some really amazing talks today, and we're going to hear more tomorrow. But we need to develop this environment. We need to amplify this effect. Have many more researchers, have much more exchange, and get the momentum going much more. We want to build core expertise in certain critical areas of national interest. Now, in particular, since I work in cryptography, one of the areas that I think is extremely important is post-quantum cryptography. And this is something which in India we have a little bit of focus, but a lot of the focus via the National Quantum Mission and so on is on applied security. Right? So we need to focus on developing algorithms and understanding for ourselves what is the quantum hardness of mathematical problems and how does security emerge from that. This is something which is extremely important for national security. We want to fuel the engine of technology with scientific breakthrough. So this is again something that our director spoke about, that, yes, India does need a lot of applied work, but the ideas need to come from within the country, right? So we'd like to design the algorithms that create the startups, the products, and the technology that faces our society. Of course, we want to reduce and reverse brain drain. This has been happening more and more, but I think it breaks all our hearts whenever we have our, talented students leaving. So we'd like them to leave but come back, or, we'd like them not to leave. We'd like them to participate much more in this, building of, building the environment here, contributing to the environment here. And we'd like to partner with other strong national institutions and create a strong synergistic effect. So here in particular, I think there's no better place than Chennai. We already have some really outstanding institutes like CMI, IMSC representatives are here today. And together with this center and initiatives that these institutions are also taking, I think there's no reason why we can't build like a really world-class environment for theoretical computer science, touching upon different aspects of theoretical computer science right here in Chennai. At the institute level also, I think there are important things that we can do. So IIT Madras, as everybody knows, is famous for applied science, technology, startups, translational research, right? We have this amazing research park, and all that is fantastic. But can we do more? Right? So similarly, we are also famous for our exceptionally strong undergraduate program. This is something that anywhere you go in the world, people always ask you about. And again, that's great, and that should continue. But can we do more? So in particular, can we create a name for ourselves that we are as good or even better, of course, at fundamental science? can we create a name for ourselves that we're even as good or better for our MS and PhD program? Because the graduate program, the MS and PhD program, this really is at the heart of, research. Everybody here knows that, right? That it is by nurturing the graduate program that we create true scientific value. And, this is what fuels sort of the scientific breakthroughs and the scientific culture and environment in the country. So we'd like to create a name for ourselves on this count. And, we've launched our website. So it's artcs.iitm.ac.in. This is an older version of the slides. I had the name there. But anyway, so it's artcs at IITM. You can also Google for it. It's now searchable between yesterday and today. And that's all I had to say. Please join us. Join us at, wherever you are. If you're a student who's excited about theoretical computer science, we have so much activity here. Please write to us, talk to us, come and be part of our program. If you're a postdoc or, you're a researcher, come and spend time with us. If you're a faculty, or a faculty candidate, please come and join us, be part of our team, whatever capacity you work in, right? If you're excited about theoretical computer science, we'd love to have a conversation with you, and we'd love to partner with you in taking this thing forward. So on that note, I'd like to thank all of you once again, and let's hope for the best. Thank you.
Thank you for that comprehensive overview, Professor Shweta. We now arrive at the most significant moment of this evening, the formal inauguration of the center. May I request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly join us for the plaque unveiling ceremony of the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Science. Thank you. Thank you. We extend our heartfelt congratulations on this momentous occasion. As we come to the close of this evening's program, I invite Ms. Shweta Bhupati, Senior Manager, Alumni Relations, Office of Institutional Advancement, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Dear esteemed guests, faculty members, alumni, and dear students, a very good evening. On behalf of Office of Institutional Advancement, IIT Madras, it is my privilege to propose vote of thanks for this special occasion, the inauguration of the Arvind Raghunathan Center for Theoretical Computer Science. We are deeply grateful to our director, Professor V. Kamakoti, for his inspiring address and for sharing his vision with us. Our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Arvind Raghunathan for his generous support and his commitment to advancing the frontiers of theoretical computer science. We would like to thank Professor Ashwin Mahalingam and Mr. Kavraj Nair for their continued support and guidance. We would like to thank Professor Shweta Agarwal for her insightful overview of the center and its vision. We are grateful to all our esteemed guests, faculty members, alumni, and students and well-wishers for being part of this memorable occasion. A special appreciation to everyone who worked behind the scenes to make this event successful and meaningful. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Shweta. I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you for joining us and gracing this occasion. Have a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you.